This is One Up Radio coming at you with the One Up Yours show for Friday, May 19th. We've been taking a kind of lazy week here at work, except for Shane.
Yeah.
He's on EGM deadline. Hey, dude, that's the way print is. But I'm your host, Garnet.
Your coast?
I'm your host to coast to host.
I want to troll, but
No, troll.
You don't have
troll.
the energy for
No,
it?
troll.
not
Hit it.
yet. Let me finish this chai.
Dude, I'm so energized after having a week to relax from E3.
Must be nice.
Yeah, it is pretty nice, actually.
Oh, as opposed
So
to
there.
like the other 3 of your 4 weeks during production.
If,
right?
if some of the energy,
4 or 5, actually.
if some of the life hadn't been sucked out of me by spending yesterday playing Metal Gear Solid 3, I'd be feeling much better.
Shut up.
Wow.
Yeah, we're not.
Wow. So you
Yeah.
could have been playing Tomb Raider instead.
Which I freaking love.
That's fine. I think that
do
speaks
not
for
love
itself.
Tomb Raider
Yeah, I
anymore.
know you know. All right, so anyway, so let's launch in. Let's give everybody an idea what we're doing
Cut me
today.
off there. Did you get
I did cut you off. Sorry.
He is the host.
I am the host with the most. So
You're just that evil dude from Phoenix Wright.
Apparently.
I'm Hannibal.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Anyway, so first up, we're going to be doing the classic "What You've Been Playing" thing. We got some answers to the reader mail of where you'll be spending your money in November. In the second part of the show, we're going to go through best of E3 awards, not just ours. We're going to hit some of the other sites. We got GameSpy. Who else we got over here?
Skip. Who else do we
Skip.
got?
Who else we
Game
got?
Life.
So Spot and IGN doesn't have theirs up yet.
What about
All
Game,
right, so we
Does
can't.
Game Life have any? No.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. Someone from IGN told me what their big awards were. But
Oh, well.
All right, so then in the third segment, we'll come back. We'll hit some news. You got some stuff from Kutaragi. You got some cool stuff on the Second
what
Life.
do you think of the price?
My boy Ken.
See, stacking them deep and selling them cheap, only $600.
Ridge Racer. All right, let's move on.
All right, so hit it. Who wants to talk about what they've been playing? Luke, what have you been playing this week?
It's embarrassing. Nothing.
That's cool.
We have this whole week off, but I did go out and I did buy an Xbox 360 this week as
Like
sort of
promised?
like a
With real money?
with I didn't use any trade. I actually opened my wallet and gave to Microsoft.
Don't you guys have ones from Microsoft?
Yeah, but they're just here at the office. They have to stay at the office for people to play.
You're here all the time.
I wanted it at home. It was time.
By the way, that image of him opening the wallet, and I've seen his wallet. It's like it's like thicker than a Big Mac.
It's not money, ladies.
Isn't it? It's a Bratz wallet, right? It's like a vinyl Bratz wallet. I've seen it.
But so yeah, I bought that and I bought Ghost Recon, and then over the weekend I'm going to Skip and I tried to go get new Super Mario Brothers this week, and we went to the EB Games downtown in San Francisco.
Sold out.
Yeah, and
Oh, I
she's
was
like,
gonna let you borrow mine, but I didn't bring it.
good friend.
Psych.
And she's like, do you have a pre-order? And I was like,
Oh man! And you reached across the counter.
Do you know?
Do you know who I am?
Yeah. Like I was like, that's Skip Pfister with me. Do you?
I'm that gay guy from the One Up Your show.
So you didn't get a Mario?
I didn't get a. That's why I asked to borrow yours.
You can't buy a Mario unless you pre-ordered.
They're like, we're sold out for customer sales, and I was like, "Duh."
Customer sales. Well, okay, I'm not a customer. So
Yeah.
send me one.
Bullshit. So I didn't get that. This weekend, Field Commander just came in.
Yep.
So I'm definitely going to play Field Commander and Ghost Recon and Geometry Wars all
All right, so we're gonna get together and play some Graw online over the weekend.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. So I
Absolutely.
definitely
We
want to
should
do
play
that.
some Field Commander online too. We can, even if we just do the chess type thing.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
The chess type thing.
Yeah, there's like a sort of play by mail kind of thing in it, where because it's turn based.
Right.
So I can just make a move and I can zap it to Luke, and he can just respond to it when he can be bothered.
Can we talk shit? In
No
the
shit. You can
responses?
actually do that game that way.
Yeah.
It's like playing bridge in the newspaper.
But that's brilliant.
It's
It is.
Dude, that's brilliant because you can
it's a little bit like that.
eject,
My
punch
grandpa.
out.
Yeah, my grandpa plays that.
That's your company. That's Sony. That's your boy.
That's right. That is Sony. That is Sony
My
internal development.
boy.
So what have you been playing, Shane?
We're on deadline, but I am playing game for review. Big Brain Academy for DS.
How is that the younger version?
They say it is, but it looks younger. It has like more cutesy graphics, but it's really just as adult kind of as Brain Age. But what's cool is it has tons of multiplayer games, and you play 8 players simultaneously, and they're really different and weird. And actually today, like 2:30, we're gonna get together. If you have a DS, come by and play because we're all gonna play.
Yeah, I'm
together.
scheduled to come in and whoop your asses.
It's really pretty wild. I'm having a good time.
John?
Sweet, John.
I continued to try Tomb Raider because I've been having some problems getting back into Oblivion. I went cold turkey for 10 days, and it's just not. I don't know. The
hooks are out of you.
Yeah, I think
The
it may
hooks are
have.
gone.
I may be done. I don't know.
I'm happy.
So at 35 hours, you hit the 10 hours.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, my 10-hour thing, which was when I thought I was going to give up on it. But I was playing Tomb Raider earlier and kind of liked it. But now how picky it is about making you do things is starting to piss me off.
There's like one way to do everything.
Well, that, and you sort of like, it's got a lot of Prince of Persia about it. In Prince of Persia, you run in the vague direction of something, and he sort of
It
jumps
kind
on.
of does it all for you. To an extent.
But Tomb Raider, like, if you don't line up with the dangling chain exactly right, she drops and falls to her death, and I don't know. That's,
So there are a couple of points where it's kind of punitive. I finished Tomb Raider this week.
Already?
Yeah, finished it up and loved it. The next to the last level is freaking awesome. It's the England level. It's very long. There's lots of exploration to it, and they wait a long way into it before they have you actually do any of the fighting part, where you gun battle and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
The last level is very quick. It's very quick. You can tell they had screen. You ever see this? Like, it seems like when they have professional screenwriters working on a game, once they get to the point where they expose where the climax is going to be, it's like they rush to get to it.
Yeah.
Seems to be. I think it's a very movie sort of thing because they're fitting inside that framework of the way like the plot curve goes. I don't think you have to do that in a game.
Apparently, that's a problem with Da Vinci Code. If you read all the reviews today.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's getting really
I'm
horrible.
supposed to go see that tonight.
I'm going tomorrow. It's getting hammered, but I mean that's off. Has anyone tried the game, by the way?
No comment.
Yeah.
No. But it's a collective. Everyone has a good mind about collective.
The collective has a really good rep, but for what reason? I don't know.
Buffy.
It
Game.
wasn't
Buffy.
that. It
Buffy.
was. I reviewed
Buffy wasn't that great.
I reviewed that game. It's all right. It wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed. You're right. It wasn't that great, but it was fun, dude. I had a good time with the game.
You just wanted to see Buffy.
I did. Well, hey, Sarah Michelle Gellar, whatever.
Yeah.
If you can't roll with that, I can't help you. Maybe Luke can talk to you about who to look at.
Yeah, the SMG.
Cordelia, what's up?
Yeah.
Skip nods furiously. He knows.
She was. Yeah.
Man.
All right. So I also been playing Sin. And that's awesome, yeah.
Episodes?
Yeah, I really like that. So, I heard one of the arguments people made was like, oh, it looks like a Half-Life 2 mod. But, man, if that's a Half-Life 2 mod, it's one incredible mod group because it's really polished. The gameplay is really fantastic, and I really like the... that was really gay sounding, wasn't it? The gameplay is fantastic. Okay, so let me explain what I mean. What I mean is that the enemies do not just stand there and let you pump them full of lead. You can really feel the adaptive... difficulty level working. Like as you're going through the game, if you're ruling on them, they very quickly come at you from more directions, and they're better shots. And if you start to get held back and you're not advancing well, then it kind of softens up on you a little bit. So it keeps you moving through the game at a good pace.
My question is, does anybody care about that game?
I care about it. Yeah, it's fun.
But nobody.
The first one was like 10 years ago.
Nobody cared about the first one when it came out, or the expansion pack. It was like
no one cared about the first one when it came out because they rushed it to get it out before Half-Life.
Didn't work,
and it broke.
Didn't
right?
work,
I mean,
yeah.
the game was not ready, and the publisher said you're putting it out because they wanted to beat Half-Life.
But do people only care because it's Steam and it's Valve? I mean,
probably.
Yeah, I think so.
I disagree. People care because it's a good shooter. It's got great, strong character in it. It has.
So if it was being released by some Korean company or
if the
some
guys
company
that
you never
did
heard of,
Painkiller or whatever put out Sin, no one would care.
I totally disagree. It's got a good character. It has a good game system to it. It has the adaptive difficulty levels to it. It has the Half-Life 2 engine.
But you're speaking from having played it. I think what Shane's talking about is just perception of Sin as a franchise. Is anyone really psyched up for Sin?
There you go. Wow. I don't know. You guys know. So,
but
I think that's a question
if it
for
really
the listeners.
if it really is a good game, then it's cool that Valve is releasing it because then it'll find an audience. So,
yeah.
Whatever.
But I think you're right. I think the fact that it's on Steam is working in its favor.
Yeah.
So the characters are strong. The voice acting is good in it. It just
Garnet likes it.
$20. Go play it. Right. It's good expenditure.
Shane probably wouldn't have given you so much shit about it if you just admitted that you like Metal Gear 3.
I've made it clear I don't want to publicly speak about Metal Gear Solid 3 with people like Garnet.
Well, so I started playing it yesterday. I spent about 6 hours with it.
No, good. I want to go here. I do. Let's go.
Now let's move on. Next segment.
All I'm going to say is, would someone just break off Kojima the Bond license so the dude can just make the game?
Well, you heard Activision paid $80 million for it, right?
God,
I know.
Yeah.
It's
So now they can do shitty games instead.
Well, the Activision, awesome games, right?
But the Bond games,
From Russia with Love was great.
You had a great time with that, didn't you?
Tune in 6 weeks ago.
I really only have one problem with Metal Gear, and that is laying down in the grass and not being able to see anything around you and thinking that you're in the clear and standing up and having a guy look at you and go, oh, shit, there you are.
Maybe you should just learn to play.
It's not my fault you're not good.
Sounds like user error to me.
That is user error.
That is user error.
User error.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so edify me. What should I be doing then? I use the proximity sensor.
Skip knows.
I use the proximity sensor and I use the
You're in enemy
radar.
territory, Garnet. We really don't want to talk to you about this. I feel sorry for you. I've said I feel very sorry for people who can't enjoy that game.
I do enjoy the game. I'm just saying that I don't think that it's like this. I don't think it's out there in the stratosphere where it was my
Why are you
perception.
playing
of
it
people
now?
I think it was the third best game of that year.
I'm playing it now because I waited for the new camera.
Oh.
It
I
would
waited
still
for the
be
new
the third
camera, and
best
this
game
is
from
the
that year.
first opportunity I've had to actually sit down and play.
Keep going. Stick with it. You'll be glad you did.
I'm too the guy like with all the bees around.
Yeah,
it.
you're not
Hey,
very fun.
All right,
Oh, yeah, that's
what's
fair.
next?
what's next?
People don't want to talk about a game that's 2 years old. Are you kidding?
Yeah,
They just released an upgrade to it
Hey, whatever.
2 months ago.
Anyway, I can't help you.
Reader mail?
Reader mail. Where are you spending your money in November? You have the answer.
I do. I have my laptop on my lap. It's getting kind of hot as well.
Oh, boy.
Bowley says, I'll be spending my money on PC games.
Oh.
Unexpected response.
Does he say which one?
Medieval, Total War 2, Battlefield 2142, Company of Heroes. And he wants a DS Lite as well to play some old school Mario.
Make
Okay.
sure you pre-order.
So you're not be able to buy it.
Or go to Target.
O'Malley Town says he was undecided before E3 and was leaning towards a PS3 Wii combo, and that's all changed now.
Ooh.
All change.
As he finishes college, he's going to buy a 360 to get Graw and Halo.
All right, that's cool.
I like him.
So from what I can get, I mean, like it wasn't sort of really clear one way or the other from what we can tell.
So that's kind of a big point because Sony did not come out of this E3 with the big win like they had last year.
Crapface
My brother Crapface.
was apparently excited about the PS3 going into E3, and now he isn't.
Why not?
Tekken 6, the PS3 game I want most, looked like crap, he says. Did they
Oh.
really show much on Tekken?
It was like a 3-second long trailer that looked a lot like DOA 4.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's saying he's going to buy Tekken Dark Resurrection on his PSP. And
Well, that's sure to look a lot better.
I don't know if that's a good investment necessarily.
we'll be playing some dope shit on his 360.
He seems to be very much about the excrement. Crap face.
Surprise, shock and awe.
Killer Twinkie.
Man, we got some awesome
We have some
usernames.
awesome usernames. I think Crapface wins so far.
I liked Brown Stain. He was seeing how we clean up the podcast. I was like, maybe do some laundry. It's like my friend Skidmark posting too.
What's this good one?
Killer Twinkie, most hyped to get his hands on the Wii and some 360 games like Mass Effect and Gears of War.
Well, that joke still works.
Twinkie.
Hey, Tom
It's
Byron,
not
joke
funny
still works.
anymore.
I'm still amused easily by
Yeah,
Dick
Killer
Jones.
Twinkie. If you want to learn how to get your hands on the Wii, Luke can teach you all about it.
Yeah, Minky Dash is going to get a Wii without question.
Hey, Skip, you know what we need when we do the show? We need like a Luke gay joke like strike meter, you know, like they hold up, you know, like for these two for
So we
Nolan
have like
Ryan.
a buzzer that goes off.
Just like keep track of them. Just put K's up there or whatever.
God, make it stop.
So not clear cut. I mean, there are some people, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, I think the thing is there's way too much stuff coming out in November. Like, even someone who wants to buy everything probably can't. There's just too much.
All right, here's one that some of us can pounce on. Quarter Miller. I'll be buying a PS3 as soon as they're available. The $600 price tag doesn't put me off because the 360 with HD DVD drive is the same price.
Wow, it's so refreshing to see like a really informed consumer on the boards.
Actually, though, a guy on our boards did point out, like, he did do like a side-by-side comparison for what both of them have and what both of them offer, and it was actually a really compelling argument that the price difference between 360 and PS3 isn't as gross as it seems to us initially. Like, when you factor everything
But
in,
only if you are thinking it as more than a game console.
right?
Right. But it is. I mean, like, that's like a perception thing. Like, no amount of thinking, like, oh, I don't want all this functionality. Well, like, you're stuck with it. Like, this thing is future-proofed. It's packed with functionality. And if you don't want that stuff, well, don't buy it yet. But Sony wants you to have it, and that's the way it is.
Well,
Hey,
Sony
Shane, you
wants
got a girlfriend?
Not currently.
All right. So, do you ever thought about being married?
Yeah.
Because one thing that's really nice when you're married and you have a game console is that you can play your game console and send the wife off to go like watch a DVD.
Send the wife off. She doesn't listen.
I'd be-
because they don't like you saying
Hey,
stuff like that.
my mom listens. My mom listens, but my wife doesn't.
Hey, Mom, I send the wife
I hope
off.
my mom doesn't.
No, Garnett,
listen.
I'd be like, hey, baby, come over here. This is the Center for Entertainment in my home, and you can come and watch. I downloaded the latest episode of Seventh Heaven for you,
Just
wife.
to clarify,
Right.
I just want to clarify
Right.
real quick. Are you seeing anyone right now?
Not
Yeah, I was just checking.
So anyway, the point of this was, it's nice to be able to say, hey, you know what? You want to watch your DVDs? You got a spot to watch DVDs. You want to play your games? You got a spot to watch games, and they're different.
But
So
you're
that
going to
you
just
can
be
do
able
the same thing at the
to
same
have
time.
to get two PS3s then.
like your argument here is like, I like having my phone attached to a wire where I know how it's easy to get to, and like I don't want
What?
I don't
Wait.
want it to do other things. I don't want to be able to like send email.
What the
you're saying
Where is that? What planet is he from?
You're making the argument like I don't want more functionality, which is like a lot of people like they're like,
I don't mind
want
more
all this functionality.
I don't mind more functionality, but I don't give a shit about it in my game console. My game console is my game console. If I want a great Blu-ray,
You've never played a DVD on a PS2 ever?
No.
But here's the point.
Never?
I think
no, because I have an awesome DVD player.
John's going to bring reason and
I'm
ration.
going to bring some reason in here. And the PS2 was a DVD player, but you didn't pay more for it. But the PS3, it is a Blu-ray player, and you're paying more for the privilege. The reason it worked last time round is because you were getting something that you were probably thinking of maybe getting anyway for nothing.
And there was no format war.
Right.
And there was no, if I buy this PS2 to play DVDs, there's a chance that I might be wanting to play Blu-ray 1 on it. And there's still a very strong chance that HD DVD could win this format war.
Not if they put the crappy movies they're putting out right now on it.
Right.
God.
So, like, but
Just the list for
But
both
all the
of them are
consumer
garbage, though.
cares about is that it'll play a high-def movie on their high-def TV. And the benefit of HD DVD is that wall that they have of DVDs will still play in an HD DVD player. It won't play in a Blu-ray player.
Yes, it does.
well.
You're retarded. Blu-ray is completely backwards compatible with DVD. Oh, 100%. You're
All right,
retarded.
well, I'm holding. Nick Callister was sitting in my office
he's-
yesterday and told me
he's
that Blu-ray players would not play.
He was.
I think he might be wrong.
He's confused.
Is he wrong?
He's
Yeah.
very confused. Yeah, I mean, like, it all works.
Okay.
It's just a way for Sony to infiltrate your living room with another one of their proprietary media formats. Anyone who thinks it's anything other than that is as delusional as Nintendo is, thinking that the Wii is a new console and not a peripheral.
Well, they all want to get in there and corner your marketplace. Anyway, by the
That
way.
hurts, doesn't
Wow.
it, bitch?
You troll.
That's just true.
But I'm predicting right now, everybody,
He's kind of in troll mode
everybody
today.
around the office who's so down on PS3 in November, I want to see how many of those people change their tune. I think a lot of people are.
if Metal Gear Solid 4 makes it to November, which
No, it
then I
won't.
would.
It's
But
not.
there
It's gonna
will
be
be
next year.
Yeah, next year, of course.
there will be enough excitement, and you'll see.
Hey,
So let me throw you a bone here. I'm not down on PS3 per se. I just want good games. So like Resistance Fall of Man, I totally want to play that game. Warhawk, I totally want to play that game. Assassins, I totally want to play that game. If it's on the PS3, I'm playing it on the PS3.
Yeah.
Period.
I mean-
okay, would you not buy if it came out on 360? Would you wait?
Like if it was, I don't know,
Which ones?
say,
Well, there are
6-month
There
exclusive.
are games like
Yeah.
like Splinter Cell and Madden, which will be coming out first on 360, just because PS3 won't be out when those games
Right.
are done. And if you do see the screens and those games do look marginally better on PS3, will you wait? I don't know.
No, I
People
probably
probably
won't.
won't wait for Madden.
No, I probably won't.
But if you don't have a 360 and you are getting a PS3, you will wait.
Did anyone
But
get an answer
that-
out of anyone at Sony about Killzone?
I heard before E3 that they were purposefully not showing anything about it or talking about it at all until after launch in order to not hurt Resistance.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So
too.
Resistance is getting
Right.
is getting
Resistance
space.
is launch and needs space.
Okay.
Like,
Did
that's why
anyone
Halo
else get
3
the
wasn't
feeling-
unplayable for him.
Yeah.
that Resistance is kind of the PS3's Call of Duty.
Oh, it is.
It's
And
totally. I mean,
well,
it even
and
has the feel and look and everything.
If you look at Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 2 has outsold Perfect Dark Zero by more than 2 times.
because it's a hella better
Which
game.
is amazing, and like Microsoft never could have foresaw that.
Oh, sure they could have. Dude, all they had to do was
I don't-
play PDZ. That
Well,
thing-
that, but I mean, World War II shooters, third-party World War II shooters that are on multiple platforms usually aren't killer
Exactly,
apps.
especially when it's the second one in the
True.
fourth franchise of whatever.
That's true,
it is.
and with no console heritage at all. It's all PC heritage.
It's the new map pack's out now, right?
Yes, it is.
And you can read all about Call of Duty 3, which wasn't really at E3, in the next issue we do,
Oh, that little plug there.
Save that for your own fucking podcast.
which is great, by the way. Jennifer does a bang-up job.
Agreed. Listen if you're not.
All right, so let's come back and talk about some One-Up Best Awards and other sites' Best of E3 Awards, and we'll be back in about 35 seconds.
You're listening to One Up Yours, part of the One Up Radio Network.
Hey guys, this is Ryan from the One Up Show. Hope you'll check us out this week. We got a big post E3 special featuring a bunch of games, including Lost Planet from Capcom, Mass Effect, Metroid Prime 3 for the Wii, a couple of DS games, Yoshi's Island 2 and Castlevania Portrait of Ruin, and we finish it up with a big look at Kojima Productions' output for this year. Be sure to check us out, theoneupshow.oneup.com. Thanks.
Hi, this is Jeff Green, the editor-in-chief of Computer Gaming World magazine. With me is Ryan Scott, associate editor of CGW. Say hi, Ryan. Hi. Ryan is held at gunpoint right now, and unless you listen to the CGW radio podcast, I'm going to shoot him. So if you want Ryan to live, please listen to the CGW Radio podcast at cgwradio.oneup.com or at iTunes. Do it for Ryan. Do it for Ryan's mom.
All right, so we're about ready to put this whole E3 thing to bed, but we were just looking online. We can't find the other big boys' best of. So I guess we're going to have to come back and talk about that again, maybe like next week, or maybe we'll just blow it off. What do you guys think?
I think in a week it'll be so dated.
Yeah.
Unless it's controversial. Or
I would
stupid.
actually like to know if people really give a shit about Best of E3 awards, because all of us do them, and it's this mad scramble, and everyone's handing out nominations, and then we toss it out to the readers, and I don't get a sense that people...
Doesn't connect.
I think by the time that the awards roll around, they've seen everything, and in their head, they already know what they want and what they thought was the best. So it's like, well, 1UP says this was, but I don't really care.
And would you want to work down the list, or do you want to go straight into what won? Because I have some stuff to say about that.
All right, so I will pull some shots out of here randomly, and you guys can just throw about them. So let's go right into PS3, because that was what we thought would be the headline of the show. So in PS3, we nominated Mercenaries 2, Heavenly Sword, Resistance, Warhawk, and we gave the best game to Assassin's Creed.
Because it was the only one that looked...
No, we don't hold back,
it was
man.
the only one that it was the only one that looked any good, and the other stuff was just every other fucking game on the platform.
Yes, totally.
It wasn't really...
Well, I mean,
you know,
I would argue that like Resistance and Heavenly Sword and Warhawk, while not like they didn't blow you away and they're not creative and they're not, there's nothing you hadn't seen before. They did look really solid. They did. They were all solid games that people will buy.
We've been taking a task a little bit on Heavenly Sword for calling it an arena game. Hey guys, it's not
an arena game.
It's not an arena game, but that's what they've been showing us.
Yeah, the demo they had wasn't.
We didn't call it an arena game. We asked if it was.
Right. Because that's all they've been showing us.
Right. But to be the voice of reason for Sony, those 3 games are solid games that people will buy. They'll be successful.
So reasonable for Sony.
They are. Those are solid games.
Resistance I kind of enjoyed, but Assassins was very interesting, and I think there's some interesting stuff to come on Assassins if all the rumor
Did
is to
you
be believed.
hear the thing about the death screen? Like, did you guys hear about this?
Well,
like, when you die in that game, the screen goes black and you wake up, and like your eyes open, and it's like that perspective, I guess, is what I've read. And you wake up and you're in a lab.
Like Ubisoft's
you're in like a futuristic
Ubisoft's
lab.
going to kill me for saying this, but at the trailer from TGS, which was like a minute long, based on that, we speculated that it's a game where you're in an asylum and you believe you're a crusader in ancient England, and that's apparently actually the plot. No,
yeah, it's actually set now, I believe.
Like we're spoiling their big reveal, but yeah, I mean, like they shouldn't have shown us that trailer.
So make sure you mention that. Make sure Shane Bettenhausen ruins Assassin's Creed.
Because
Shouldn't have
you're part
shown
of
me
the
that trailer.
Assassin's Brotherhood, which is actually where the word assassin grew up from, and that all came about during the Crusades. So that's cool. The thing about going back to Resistance, the only thing I don't like about the action was great. For a company that's done so many cool character designs, the aliens that you're attacking.
Aliens are so generic looking.
Well, totally
like-
They're
agree.
supposed to look like
Man.
50s aliens.
They don't look 50s. They just look gank. I mean, you're looking at them. They have these
But
little
I did like its Call of Duty-ness.
I did like its
Yeah.
Call of Duty.
It's
I like the action, and
Yeah.
there was definitely some good AI going
Cool
there.
weapons too, and if you actually played it,
yeah.
It was cool weapons.
very-
John and I played it a lot, actually.
Very brown.
It was very brown.
on purpose.
Yeah.
On purpose.
On purpose, and it's one level.
So we had a lot of fun with that. So anything else about PS3 stuff before we move on?
SingStar is awesome.
think it'll come out here.
That wasn't on the list. See, we had this list.
I'm really, really surprised that SCEA has never brought SingStar to the US.
huge.
Wasn't it a license? Isn't it a licensing thing?
Oh, I don't know, but go out. You're fucking Sony. Go and license some music.
I think it's a licensing conflict.
They're pushing it pretty hard at E3, so I think it will come out.
Right. I mean, like, because in Europe, there's like a million different versions of it, and they're all huge. And it uses iToy. But then I think Sony Europe is a bit more progressive about using things like mics and iToy and kind of really getting into the evangelizing the technology.
Reaching more for the mass market.
Yeah.
And not just that, but just being a bit more adventurous in the way they market things and
Well, they have
communicate
boobs on
things.
television over there.
They do have boobs on television because you know what?
Hell yeah.
Boobs are not bad. As
I agree with this.
In America, we believe that they're
boobs
bad.
are bad. They're evil.
Stupid puritanical stuff. God. Anyway,
so grumble.
Next.
let's go back. Let's go on to Wii then, because we all got high on the Wii then. So
Really? Because I feel like
Well,
I
I didn't.
Well,
You
the
didn't.
the problem with Wii, and I think this is reflected, is like the complex
yes,
game.
Shivam.
The complex games didn't demo well.
No, and
So-
I think that is because what they're trying to do is shovel existing ways of playing things and existing gameplay ideas into a control scheme that it wasn't designed for initially. And I think even Red Steel is guilty of that.
That's totally agree.
But
So there's
Zelda
two
is the
things.
most guilty of it. That is, you have expectations from the game which don't match with the new controls.
You know what they do match with, though? My GameCube.
Exactly, because there's two Wii games. There are Wii games that were made for Wii that you go, wow, this is really cool. And there are games that weren't made for Wii that they tacked it on. And you're like, wow, this feels like an accessory.
Right.
Well, yeah, and that first kind of game, the kind that you went really cool, it's like, wow, this is really cool for Nintendo 64. Because that's what Wii Tennis looks like.
Oh, wait a minute now.
It's on purpose, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good excuse. It's on purpose. We have the power to make it
But
look
did you
good.
notice that it only works when it's very, very simple? I mean, it is iToy gameplay levels when it works.
It is.
And when you get more complex than that, it just falls apart.
So
It's going to take a very good game designer to figure out how to use that thing
They
and
have
do
to start
something
with
more
they have to do what they
complex.
did with the DualShock and all the analog stuff. You have to start with the control scheme and build out.
I
Exactly.
think that none of us had enough time with it because by the end of the demos, by the end of Zelda, after I looked like a fool for 10 minutes, I was starting to figure it out, and I realized when you really play these games, when you really play Mario, Metroid, and Zelda, the game will hold your hand and it will introduce things very slowly. And by the time you're doing these complex moves, you should be good at it. But at
So what
at
Nintendo
E3, you
needs
just
to do-
walk in, you're baffled.
What Nintendo needs to do then is bring us one and set it up here.
Oh, yeah.
And let us have a couple days
You know
to mess
what
with
part of the problem is? That is that everyone at E3 was a gamer who understands games already. So you go into any of these experiences with an expectation of what your interaction with it is supposed to be like, and it's not like that. So you spend the first 5 minutes unlearning everything you know about playing games, and that's what I think a lot of us have been reacting to. And it's like, this just doesn't feel natural. And then you're out of time, and there's 600 people.
And if no one's there to teach you that you're not supposed to be moving it a lot, like I was moving it a lot, you're not supposed to be moving it a lot. No one
Right.
told me don't move it a lot.
we had unlimited time when Skip and I went. So it wasn't a matter of time that was screwing it up. It was a matter of just poor. Watching Skip fumble through Zelda was so disappointing and frustrating, and so reassuring that I was right.
Hey, it
and
wasn't just Skip.
And you mentioned the iToy, in the Sony Empire, what's the iToy?
In Europe, it's great.
But what is it
but
technically?
here-
It's technically a peripheral.
Yeah. So this is back to your point.
Back to
now.
your point.
Yeah.
Broken record.
Until they fucking reissue it as a new song, the record's gonna keep playing and keep breaking.
He's ready for the sequel and the tour already.
But I will say-
it's a Liberante tune.
A lot of people here, like people on the internet, we're convinced that it is different and clever and interesting enough to make it a second console choice. Like people aren't talking about this is the only thing I want, but a lot of
But
people are
definitely.
saying,
and it's definitely a
second
living
console.
room, get the whole family involved console.
Yeah.
It's not bedroom den, sit on your lazy boy
Right.
console.
I think a really easy parallel to make to be serious and not troll Nintendo for a second is I bitched constantly to my friends about the DS when it came out because it was so janky and I was like,
Lame.
there's no way this is going to work and it's lame. But now,
Oops.
yeah, but see the thing
Well,
is
about
they
a
just
year
didn't have
pe-
it. Yeah,
yeah.
they've had a year to work on it and now the stuff's great.
Yeah.
So if that's the trajectory that the Wii development can get on, so a year from now maybe we're sitting here talking about how great it is, that's good, and I'm willing to sort of give Nintendo the benefit of the doubt. I just don't know if I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt in November.
Or the
That's what
benefit,
you were
or the
pointing
benefit
towards.
of your cash in November.
Yeah, well, we're not. I don't think we're going there.
So you're not planning on buying a Wii?
Probably not. I'll probably come over and play Wii Tennis
Yeah,
with you.
because I'm all about. I will day one buy Wii Sports and WarioWare.
All right, so speaking of games, let's look at the games we nominated. We nominated Super Mario Galaxy, the Orchestra demo, Elebits,
Oh,
WarioWare, and then the best Wii game went to Wii Sports.
That's a no-brainer.
I think
though.
Wii Sports is awesome, but I don't think that the orchestra game or Elebits belongs on that list.
I don't know
Well,
that the orchestra game
it
necessarily.
wasn't a game.
even
No, it wasn't a
game.
game. It was a
It's a tech
demo. So
demo.
we kind of relaxed things a little bit there, but there was enough people who walked back. I can tell
But
you from
the fact
being
that Metroid isn't on that list, Metroid is actually good, and those aren't even games.
So the thing with the orchestra was it was consistent that every time I was working in the booth, people would come back from having played with the orchestra demo and they were super high on it. So it had that sort of impression. And keep in mind, these are E3 impressions.
Right.
We're not rating the game. We're not reviewing the game. We're just saying off the impression that we got there, this is what we said.
I think just part of the impressions could have been also skewed by the whole presentation at the beginning, the Miyamoto.
That was pretty dramatic.
It was sort of weighed in, and I talked about it in our preview. There's just so many different things they could do with the Wii Music franchise that could make Wii Music this really cool game to get. So hopefully Nintendo has the foresight to do that. I think that they do, even though right now they're not going to
Well,
talk about
and
it.
I think the DS parallel is really valid. I think that's what will happen.
I want it to be really valid. So maybe, a year from now they'll release a correct version of the Wii, sort of like the DS Lite.
All right, so let me round up the next-gen platforms then with going to Best of 360. We nominated the Splinter Cell Double Agent, BioShock, Lost Planet, Gears of War, and then I don't think it's any surprise if you've been listening to the show, the award went to Mass Effect.
It's
So
a good lineup.
it was a hell of a good lineup.
That's actually like a pretty. I mean, I'm glad I have a 360. That was a pretty nice list of games right there. That was.
And that represents games coming to 360 between now and
spring of next year.
Yeah.
Spring of next year.
Which is, I think, a pretty reasonable window, especially when you consider the
Yeah.
stuff that they showed for later in 2007.
BioShock's going to be awesome.
Bioshock looks awesome. Totally awesome.
I didn't get to look at it. I wish I did.
So it seems it's funny because the best lineup has shut everybody here down and no one has anything to say.
Well, I would say that Bioshock and Splinter Cell probably aren't exclusive to Xbox 360.
No, they're probably not exclusive.
And
but
BioShock's going to be on PC
Yeah, neither
as
is
well. And I
Assassin's
think
Creed.
it'll probably get a lot of attention from
As
the
of
PC
now.
press.
as of now. So in one case it's as of now, in the other case it's they're not exclusive.
I just want to point that out. The thing that really pissed me off when I looked at this, I'm going to go there now.
Okay, so we have some other ones to go to, but go ahead. Let's get the
I
rant
want to
out
go
there.
right to game trailer because I think that nominating Halo 3, Final Fantasy 13, Paper Mario, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and then giving it to Metal Gear 4 was stupid.
Why?
I don't disagree.
Metal Gear Solid 4 is the best trailer. at E3.
Not even close. There's no trailer more powerful to watch than the Halo 3 trailer.
Are you?
He's been sat in his cube with his pants around his ankles all week.
You are retarded.
And that was even when you weren't
Oh,
there.
dude, come on. The Halo 3 trailer was definitely
You guys, I can't
dramatic.
believe I'm having this discussion with you people.
no,
the Halo 3
with you people. Now he's being all
You
discriminatory.
people. Why is the Halo 3 trailer good? Oh, because it's Halo 3.
No,
Why
because-
is the Metal Gear Solid 4 trailer?
Because it's Metal Gear Solid 4. Oh.
because it's a really good trailer with better graphics than Halo 3.
This year,
Oh, Skip just
What?
threw up your mic.
That's not up for debate.
this year's Metal Gear Solid trailer was nowhere near as impactful as last year's. Last year's, you were totally smoked by it. The whole first-person entry, the whole this is not a
I'm
first-person,
not
the
sure.
whole thing.
I'm
and
not
then
sure
this,
if you saw the same trailer that I saw.
this year's had a lot of fan service in
Are
it.
you talking about the long one?
Yeah, the 15-minute one.
Yeah.
Oh god, the 15-minute one sucked. Oh my god, be longer if you could. The
Dude, it
short
didn't
one from the
suck.
Sony
It did
one.
not suck.
The short one from the Sony one was good because it was like short and to the point. I watched the 15-minute one when I got home.
Like, I seriously can't believe that you think the Halo 3 trailer is good.
I do,
I mean, I
but
think it's effective, and yep, the Halo 3 exists, but nothing happens, and it's not even that good looking.
As opposed to our war is changing.
Metal Gear Solid 4 shows you like these new enemies, this new environment, like all these characters, graphics that are like unbelievably beautiful. It tells you some of the story.
Go ahead.
Like Halo 3 tells you nothing. There's nothing in
so
that trailer.
angry.
What is in the Halo 3 trailer that I'm supposed to be seeing?
Rampant Cortana, an Earth in ruins.
You know, Luke, you would have given it the best trailer if it was just a logo. Like seriously, you were so predisposed to to think that's the best thing at E3.
No, I was expecting just a logo. Everything else.
Therefore,
was a
you were blown.
treat.
Therefore, you were blown away.
A good friend of mine who listens was like, dude, why didn't you guys give Halo 3 game of the show?
It wasn't.
And I was like, he's like,
wasn't
it
a
wasn't.
game.
And I was like, well, it's not a game. It's not playable. And he goes, but you go there and you watch it and someone presses play. He's like, that should count. And I was like, that's how I feel too,
I mean,
Jeff.
I think both Metal Gear Solid 4 and Halo play to like their base, and it's a hardcore game that people who like that already like it, and like.
Well, I mean, you know that I love
think
Metal
that's
Gear
I think
too.
that's
But it
pretty
also,
accurate.
you the two of you seem to have a different argument as to what makes a good trailer. You know?
Like Halo 3's trailer was just a teaser that showed you almost nothing. Metal Gear Solid 4's trailer was a 15 minutes that, that
It
tells
was
you
like
story.
Yeah, it was a mini. Whereas Halo 3 was meant to get fanboys' hair on the back of their neck tingling.
Yeah.
And you tingled too.
Yeah, I know.
The Halo fanboys have like best Halo 3 hype award goes to Halo 3 trailer. There you go.
All right, so
Can-
PC also had an excellent show. So let's look at what we nominated on the PC front. Supreme Commander, Huxley, Crisis, Quake Wars, and then it's no surprise we gave that award for the PC to Spore.
I want to talk about Spore and awards.
I wanted
Okay.
to talk about Huxley too.
And because
All right, so let's hear it.
because
How many views?
times are we going to say Spore is great? It's starting to get boring.
4 years.
And you know what?
I think 4 years.
It's probably going to be up for Game of the Show next year as well.
I agree.
And there was a lot of good stuff that's more imminent. That
I
think
lost that
deserved
argument.
it.
That was the argument I made, and I lost it in the booth. So
It's like I think everyone's talking about, oh look, Spore got Game of the Shows, and it is really good. But aren't you getting a bit tired of hearing how good it is, and you still haven't been able to play it? Not even a demo. I mean,
yes. I totally
but,
agree.
But it's so out there. It's so ambitious.
It is, and
unlike
it
anything
does
else.
warrant getting a nice big thumbs up. But how long are we going to
Give it the
be
thumbs
told
up.
very much about it?
Yeah, even Robin
more.
Williams' demo included. Do you know that much about what it's going to be?
Well, it's about everything, isn't it?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
great. And we've got to wait another year.
At least. At least.
I mean, I'm really excited for Spore, but I still argue that the graphics look kind of like a kid's game to me. But I think it's really
But
cool.
I think that's a bit of sort of Nintendo thinking on
Yeah.
the right's part. I think
yeah, it's a stylistic.
Try
I'm
and
just, not, I'm
make-
just not used to it from like
Right, but
serious adult game.
Try and make a very scary, like extremely feature-rich game more accessible by making it look kiddie, I think. But I think the other stuff on PC that's more imminent. Crisis especially.
Freaking awesome.
Beautiful.
And Crisis is going to be a big part, I think, of what Microsoft's doing with the Games for Windows initiative.
Absolutely.
And DX10 is going to be
a big part of their
that.
DX10 push. When you see that game on DX10, it's not just that the graphics look so much better, it's the density of the environments. And that's really obvious. If you go back and you watch the 2 trailers and watch the jungle trailer in DX10, it's amazing the density of everything that's in there, the number of plants and objects
the irony being that the game will probably be ready before DX10 is.
It will.
Though I do have a fear that as beautiful as it looks, it might end up being just like a decent shooter underneath it all.
Well, it's kind of Far Cry's problem.
Yeah, and then after that, like everybody's game could look that good, and then it's just like, oh, another good-looking game. But it looks amazing right now.
All right, so you wanted Huxley.
Yeah, we talked about Huxley while we were there, and John was high on it before we saw Mass Effect, but I think Huxley is like little more than an MMO shooter with like a game world that serves as your lobby.
Right, I think
like when you're not playing, and I think
shows that anything other than a role-playing game in an MMO environment kind of is a bit of a sort of weird.
And with the way the microtransactions are going to work for the game, it's going to be like you can buy new guns, like all that stuff we've been worried about for months. Yeah. Like you can buy new guns, and like some dude will buy more guns, and the people at WebZen were like, well, the changes will be largely cosmetic. Like, really?
Largely.
Yeah, really? Like Huxley's going to be interesting to watch because we've got another year before it comes out, and it's going to be integrated with the Live Anywhere crap. But it could be another one of those games where the microtransactions argument resurfaces. So I'm going to definitely be paying attention to that.
So you're the MMO guy. We were talking about before the show the flood of MMOs on the floor. You saw a lot of them. And so what was your impression of all these MMOs, just as an overview?
It was really disappointing. Like, really disappointing.
Is there any reason to stop playing WoW?
No. Compared to what else is coming, there's no like visible World of Warcraft killer. The game that I wanted to see, the Red 5 game, wasn't even shown. Though someone on our boards who listens works at the studio next to Red 5, and they told me a bunch about it just like in confidence, and it sounds like it's going to be really cool. So if you're listening, send me more info, maybe some pictures, just for like the personal collection.
Pictures of him?
Yeah. No, pictures of the game. But so the thing that was one thing that I really wanted to see and I didn't get to. And there's no real compelling reason if you're an MMO gamer to stop playing World of Warcraft other than, and for the reasons that I'm going to slow down my World of Warcraft playing, is like we're starting to enter the new era in console gaming.
Right.
Like first and foremost, I said this to you yesterday, like I'm a console gamer, and as we're coming out of the sort of rut that we've been in, and like, I've got my 360, I know that in the next year and a half I'll have a PS3, I'll have a Wii, I'm going to have all that, and I'm going to be back.
It still works for you too. Joke still works on him.
But like, I'm
Shane
going to
just
have.
lost it.
I'm going to have all of those, and it's like I'm not going to have time to invest in an MMO because there's so much other stuff to play, and that's the hard part about MMO gaming is if you want to play everything else, you just don't have time.
Some of the good stuff on PC isn't MMO though. I mean,
most of the good stuff isn't.
Supreme Command I thought looked awesome.
Looked fantastic.
Well, Command and Conquer wasn't on there, was it?
Command and Conquer was it's a bit early yet, right?
They
had
very
early.
It was running in game.
Yeah,
they played
something
that
I played that I overheard that would maybe go into beta this year is Hellgate London. I thought that was coming out any second now, but apparently it could be a year away still.
Bill Roper?
Yeah, I know. But I mean, I played a bunch
Dave
of that
Brevik?
on the Microsoft booth, and I really liked it. I mean, it's very Diablo.
When we go down to Flagship and talk to those guys, they're basically they have a blank check from Namco to make it however they want to, and B, they're never satisfied, so they're going to sit around and keep tweaking it.
It's very, very slick.
It is very slick.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. But I'm not sure. If I had to guess, maybe pre E3 next year it'll come out.
They should do a demo like sometime this year. That's a good sort of decent chunk of that game to really get people in, like a multiplayer demo or something, and that would get people really hot.
A stress test.
Yeah.
So we called PS2 the ugly stepchild at the show, but when we came down to doing best games, there were some rock solid games that we got to put out.
PS2 has an amazing lineup.
That has a really good lineup,
Yeah.
So Rogue Galaxy, Final Fantasy
really
12.
nice.
Rogue Galaxy looked great.
Yeah, it's
good.
I can't wait. That's actually on the top of my list of things I want to play. Guitar Hero 2,
Okami.
which Skip and I just freaking had a jam fest on. God of War 2, and then we gave the award to. We gave it Best PS2 to Okami.
Yeah.
I can't wait to play Okami. I saw Milky playing the Japanese version like 3 weeks
Think
ago.
anyone's going to buy Okami?
No,
Nobody bought it in Japan.
I will.
That's not a good sign.
No.
You know, we should all go out and buy it just to make sure they get the love.
I don't know.
No, I'm
I
gonna
don't know if
buy it.
anybody from Capcom listens to this. Mr. Inaba gets translate him, but the most no-brainer in the world is to do a direct port to Wii. It's made for Wii. There's parts where you draw shit,
Right, with the drawing, yes.
Like you try to recoup some of their losses. People will buy it on Wii. Capcom, Wii launch title, Okami, no-brainer.
Good call.
So let's get through some of the other stuff real quick. DS game, we gave the best to Castlevania.
Really?
Didn't get to play it, but
It's
like I
really
wanted
good.
to talk
Yeah.
about the DS stuff
It's
real
really
quick. 'cause
good.
it
Okay,
was,
so
like,
the other
quietly
three. So let's get the
story.
other four. Then the other four were Elite Beat Agents, which is
Awesome.
Wendon here, Yoshi's Island 2, Zelda Phantom Hourglass, and Lunar Nights.
Those are all,
Hit it.
all good.
I wanted to play. I didn't get a chance to play it, and I'm sure someone did. Was the Star Fox game?
I didn't get a chance to play. It looks good though.
Yeah, I wanted to play the Star Fox game. I wanted to play Yoshi's Island 2 really bad. And it's not DS, but I really wanted to play the Super Paper Mario
Oh,
game
that-
for GameCube.
That is
what?
that is officially my E3 game of no show. It is brilliant. There's a video on Game Videos. It's so cool. Apparently they're going to bring it by our office like next month.
Excellent.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Excellent. On PSP, we gave the award to Loco Roco. The runners-up were Portable Ops MGS, Ratchet and Clank Size Matters, Killzone Liberation, and Tekken Dark Resurrection. Killzone looked pretty freaking awesome.
The old school.
I mean, for
sort of-
Contra.
Yeah, but it's like another one of those games.
It is another one of those Contra games.
And it's like we're getting that format on PS2 and PSP a lot.
We are.
And just because it's got the Killzone name on it, I don't know. I mean,
I don't think
it's-
Killzone name's that powerful.
Right, but I mean,
It's not.
But
I'll agree with you on that
It's
one.
a bit of a wannabe franchise still.
At
But
least it's not a direct port from PS2.
exactly, and it's not,
Okay, have you guys played Loco Roco, though?
Yeah.
So here's my concern. Loco Roco is really fun as a one-level demo, but are they going to be able to do enough little tricks to make a whole game out of that?
It's like a DS game. It's something you pick up and play for 20 minutes. And it's
Yeah,
quirky.
and the PSP really needs some stuff like that. There
I
are so
agree.
many PSP games that are major time investments, and that's totally contrary to what they were initially saying it was supposed to be all about.
There were two other games like that you might not have played. One's called Hot Pixel, one called WTF, and they're both like very DS style, wacky.
Hot Pixel look
mini
really good.
games. Yeah, I'm excited about both of those.
I don't know. Maybe I didn't hear it. Did you say ever extend extra on that list?
No, I did not.
Bullshit.
Yeah, that was
I don't-
pretty awesome.
I don't-
It's
I
still
need
on my
someone to teach
PSP,
me,
and it's
Someone still needs to
fantastic.
teach me how to play that game.
If we have a copy here, Garnet and I will, because it was like I was going to break a PSP before I figured out how to play it, and it took Garnet and I and like Skip messing with it to figure out all the stuff you could do.
So if you played Miz's other stuff, it like pulls from all of those. It pulls some from Rez. It pulls some from Lumens with the music and and Medios. So awesome. If you get a chance to download it somewhere, because it was downloadable at that kiosk there, so they may put out downloadable.
It'll be on the spots when they start turning up in stores. I
Right.
think.
So when the spots start turning up in stores, definitely check it out. Absolutely loved that. Do we want to hit any of the genre stuff? Skips over there, circling his fingers like crazy. All right.
Do people know what that means, or is it just
He's
Skip doing something random?
Like
Some of the ladies
random.
know
He's
what
like,
that
come on,
means.
Vulgar gestures.
game of the show. I guess we should mention game of the show. I guess we'll have to talk for another couple minutes. Is that okay, producer man?
Fine.
All right. So game of the show. The nominees were Quake Wars, Gears of War, Assassin's Creed, Mass Effect, and then the one that we haven't mentioned yet that did win it, Spore.
we did mention that.
Right? No, didn't mention in the runners up list. Those are the
Let's
runners
call
up.
that Game of the Years.
Yeah,
Yeah, game of the year. So
Spore's really good.
to your rant.
Mark McDonald and I were like both bugging Sam about making Mass Effect game of the show.
And me.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was
Yeah,
just,
so I lost that. That was a big fight. I was like, man, come on, Spore's going to be here next year. We're going to be doing the same damn discussion next year, standing in the booth.
It's so innovative.
Spore.
Spore.
Oh yeah, it is, and I think, and you're right, but I think they might have started the campaign for its awesomeness a little early.
by the time it comes out, I might feel like tired of it already.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting at. It's like, I mean, how much do we have to hear about it, and for how long? That what it could end up happening is counting against it, and then when it finally does come out, is that a bunch of people are going to be like, "Oh wow, that only just came out. I thought that came out ages ago. Didn't it get Game of the Year like 3 years running?"
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so there you go. Awards, check them out. They're done, and we'll be back in a minute with some news.
Listen to EGM Live to hear Electronic Gaming Monthly editors take you beyond the pages of the magazine.
Extended impressions of the hottest games.
Shocking celebrity guest stars.
Exterminate all man-animals at will!
And the newest video game soundtracks.
That's EGM Live, available at egmlive.oneup.com or the iTunes Music Store.
Radio PM. It's the wide world of PlayStation squeezed into 30 minutes, delivered oven fresh every Monday, completely free of charge, via 1UP and the iTunes Music Store. Listen to the editors of the official U.S. PlayStation magazine as they redirect years of pent-up video game violence. Trainwreck or masterpiece? Tune in to find out at radiopm.oneup.com.
You're listening to the One Up Yours podcast on the One Up Radio Network. All right, we're coming back at you with some news from Luke. What you got, man?
The first thing I guess that I want to talk about is Ken Kutaragi earlier this week said that the PS3 was too cheap as it's currently priced, and then Sony released the price scheme for overseas too, and it's going to cost $425.
I'm glad I don't live in England anymore. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, guys. I know there's a bunch of Brits listen to this, but you guys are getting fucked.
Games are always expensive.
What's new about that, though, right? I mean,
Everything's
it's going to be like
expensive,
$800, and when you, unless the exchange rate crashes, but
isn't that
Jeez.
always true, though? Doesn't Europe always get screwed on pricing?
Yeah, usually, but this is particularly heinous.
So, in
All
addition,
right, Bill.
So in addition to pricing the system high, today
Heinous.
there was an interview
I like that.
with. You're really not helping this right now.
Luke's
not.
trying to be serious.
I'm
Shut
trying
up,
to
Gunn.
deliver information. There's an interview with David Reeves, who works for SEE, and he says, no matter if there are, he says basically like, even if there are no games for Sony's PS3, we'll sell 5 million of them because you are idiots. No,
Hey, they listen to us. We already knew that.
I was
Does he
talking
say when I can pre-order?
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
I'm Shane, and I'm an idiot. Thanks.
I was talking with Sam this morning, and Sony to me is turning into like the frat guy at the bar who like walks around the bar and like canvasses the women, and he looks like he's so sure that he's gonna score, and you're watching him with like a Beamish in your hand, going. You just hate that guy because that guy thinks he's going to score, and that's how they're looking. That's how Sony's looking at gamers as these like little helpless girls who we can go sleep with.
Wait a minute.
And all that's going to happen is gamers are going to get fucked.
Are they that guy? Are they now the 35-year-old frat guy who's like past his prime, wandering around and waiting for like the 27-year-old guy to come in and like take the girl?
No, because Sony still has a chance. Sony is still like, as much as I harp on Sony and their business decisions, they still are the market leader, and we still have to respect that. Sony is still a company that could have been in their prime right now, but they're choosing to go about it this way. And the result of that choice is this perception of arrogance, it's ego, and it's, what do you think of the price, Phil? Like, what, Phil Harrison? Admit that the price is bullshit and give us a break.
It is really high. And so what really kills me, and I want someone to defend this to me, how does, if the whole point of the high-end price is Blu-ray, how does one of the models not have HDMI? Because if it doesn't have HDMI, that means it doesn't support HDCP, which is copy protection, which means that when you put your Blu-ray disc in it, it's going to downscale it to 480. What the fuck?
Well, the perception is if you don't care about HD, the true HD output, then you can buy this cheaper model, and it still has all the functionality, unlike an Xbox 360.
It does not. No, wait. It does not have all the functionality.
You can still play everything. Everything still plays. It
But
might
if
not
the
look.
point is,
Okay,
I'm
but
paying,
I wouldn't spin it like it still has all the functionality.
the point is a whole bunch of the
Everything's-
money of the additional money and value added content to this console is the Blu-ray player, which you essentially cut the nuts off of by
It's
not
still,
putting HDMI.
even a Blu-ray movie played at that resolution on the cheap model still looks better than a DVD.
Bullshit! It's not going to look any different
It
at
does.
480. Whatever. 480i is 480i.
the
480i does
resolution-
not look different than 480i. It's
No, like,
just what it is.
The bitrate and resolution is still higher.
The bitrate and resolution. The
It
resolution
is.
is not higher. Shane, wrap your head around this. It's 480 interlaced. 480 interlaced. It doesn't matter whether it's playing off of Blu-ray or my cell phone. If it's 480i, it's 480i. You're screwing yourself with that thing. If you buy the $500 unit and you want to HD,
I mean, I'm definitely surprised by the lack of HDMI output.
it kills me. That pisses me off so bad that they did that.
Well, don't buy that model.
Yeah, drop the other $100. Get fucked that way.
Exactly. They screwed the lower price model so badly that it's outrageous. I mean, you can't upgrade the hard drive.
I would argue the hard drive is supposed to be upgradable. They're saying they're telling us the hard drive is upgradable and you can add Wi-Fi.
Well, everything else you can add through USB as
Right.
well, because they're all USB 2 ports, so they run pretty fast.
Okay, so you can upgrade that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine, but there's still nothing you can do about the HDMI support.
But do you really want a console with lots of things hanging out?
I mean,
of it?
but the question is, do you think anybody, like a lot
I
of...
thought this earlier. The argument was, I don't want a phone with a cord
Right,
on
well,
it.
but
Or
the
some
question
bullshit.
is, I mean, do you think a lot of people like you who really do want HDMI support will be fooled by the cheaper price and accidentally buy the model that doesn't have the...
They're not going to be fooled by it at all.
No.
The whole point is that they're just doing as a Trojan thing to like, we're going to sell one for $500.
Yeah,
the reality is,
I mean,
if you
it seems
want
like,
the
it seems like
PS3
you're
that was
upset,
advertised,
you're upset at
it's $600
Sony.
bucks.
You're upset at Sony making a model that is for people who don't care about HDMI.
I'm upset at Sony for doing the same fucking retard pack bullshit that Microsoft
I would argue
did.
that-
If you want I'm sorry, I'm banging my phone because it gets me upset.
Garnet,
If you-
I would argue that the crippled PS3 is less crippled than the crippled 360.
Really?
Yes.
I think
Really?
that- I think that the upgradable nature.
sorry, we just forgot to put the HDMI output on there. Sorry.
Because at least the crippled PS3 still has a hard drive. It does. And the hard drive is going to be used for gameplay, and, it doesn't. It's $100 to buy the hard drive for 360. It's also $100 to buy the Wi-Fi. At that point, you're already at the price point for the PS3. That's
But you know
$600.
what? If you don't have broadband, and I know that's not so much of a problem as it used to be, but there are still a lot of people that don't have broadband in their house.
There are.
You can buy a core and have a perfectly satisfactory experience because the memory card is big enough that you most of the save games, and you only really need the hard drive for live.
Right. Same reason you can buy the $500 PS3 and have a satisfactory experience with it.
I tell you what, I won't agree with you. I think that the PS3 neutered version is more neutered, but I will agree with you that I'm glad that they put hard drive in both because it lets developers develop games to use the hard drive. And I was really frustrated that Microsoft didn't do that.
You are getting sucked into the sort of geek passion that Sony is hoping everyone will get into, because at the same time they're also hoping everyone gives a shit about 1080p, and realistically speaking,
It doesn't matter.
they don't. I mean,
Doesn't
like,
matter.
you can go into Best Buy now. I mean, I think we've had this conversation before, and we probably should stop having it, but you can go in and get a decent flat screen TV for a very reasonable price, and it's not 1080p, but you know what? 720 looks pretty good.
720p is probably going to win the format war on broadcast, and again, ultimately your TV's going to watch television, so that's probably what you're going to want, or
Right.
a 1080i that can upscale to 720p.
For accuracy, did you want the actual quote that sort of spurred the whole thing?
Yes.
We've built up a certain brand equity over time since the launch of PlayStation in 1995 and in PS2 in 2000 that the first 5 million are going to buy it, whatever it is, even if it didn't have games. That's the actual quote.
They
So
think the PlayStation brand is so strong that you'll just go out
that
and
you'll just buy it like
blindly.
that you'll just follow them off the Blu-ray
You know what?
cliff like
Apple's
lemmings.
actually made a fair amount of money out of that
They
same
have.
attitude. But I mean that is also why for a long time the Mac only had a couple of % of the market. I mean, they can't really afford to lean on that. It was a dumb thing to say.
I mean,
It was a dumb thing
yeah,
to say.
they shouldn't. As much as that's true, the PlayStation's popular. They don't need to remind us that it's popular. We
Yeah.
know it's popular, and
like-
and I know that if they really do ship 4 million by the end of the year, they will all sell.
But
even
like
at that price.
anyone will sell. I mean, like with the exception of Gizmondo, I think every single new platform launch has sold out day one in the US in the last 5 years.
And if Che had
Everything
had
from
enough money, he
Dreamcast
would have
on
bought all the
sold out.
rest.
Right. But everything. I mean, the PSP, the DS, the Dreamcast, the PS2, they all sold out.
Right.
All right, so we
Something totally different.
we definitely beat PlayStation to death.
It's totally different. Wired had a story yesterday about litigation taking place in the digital world. I don't
This
know.
is the lawyer that sued.
This is a lawyer who's
Linden
suing
Labs?
Linden Labs over Second Life. What this lawyer did, Mark Bragg, was he found an exploit in Second Life's auction system, which sells land. And just to be real quick, like the land that you buy with real world money has real world value in Second Life. Like it's a real cash economy. So he found a way to exploit the Second Life auction systems to buy land early before the auctions actually appeared online. Like it would be like going to our live server and plucking information from that before stuff posted. So he did that. Linden Labs found out about it, shut down his account, which has like real world value, and then he's suing them now for doing that.
So he was basically poaching. He was poaching land.
Well, yeah, but and his defense is like that hacker defense, like, well,
It was there.
maybe you should have a better system in place because I won.
So he's
And Linden Labs was kind of like, gargle my nuts, and they banned him.
But he's saying that by closing down his account, that they've actually done him out of real world money, and so he's suing them for $8,000. Which is as we move into this microtransaction thing, I mean, what he does here, what happens, is going to set some precedent for everything.
That's the thing, like, I don't want to focus too much on the actual case itself because the case itself is sort of its own legal mumbo-jumbo. But what I said in the news story was, like, this is our first sort of glimpse at next-generation litigation. Like, we're seeing this sort of, like, legislation of online spaces. We've talked about it before. you may see taxes on your online and virtual properties and games at some point. Like, this is stuff that's...
If it has real-world value and it accumulates in value within the game, the government's going to want to cut of that at some point.
Scary.
It's very dangerous.
Say that again, just like that.
I can't. So once only.
Okay.
It's like a 10-minute cooldown between it.
All right, so all this week, we've been kind of taking it easy, and we've been putting together editorial plans for what we're going to be doing the rest of the year. So our question of the week is to throw it back to you listeners. We want to know, coming out of E3, you looked at a ton of games. We want to know some things from you, like what games do you want to hear more about? What games have we covered enough? And maybe you're like, okay, move on to something else right now. What would you like out of the One Up Yours podcast? What would you like to hear from us? You got show ideas?
Less Luke, maybe.
Less Luke.
Definitely.
And yes, we know.
Dick.
And let's just go ahead and table the whole language thing right now, because the One Up Yours podcast is what it is. We're working to make sure it's appealing to our audience. So let's concentrate on where we want to go with editorial stuff and content stuff. Leave that other thread about the language and all that to itself.
Another thing that we could maybe ask them too, and this might be asking too much, but I think that the people who listen and who go and post will probably have some insight. Going into TGS, which is a few months away, it's like way closer than we all think.
September.
What would you like to see different out of the One Up Network? How can we do better?
Yeah.
What would you like us to do better
About
with?
video, podcasts, news coverage, the way we do previews. What do you want to see?
Yeah, what worked for you, what didn't work for you, and let us know so that we can get some tangible feedback from you guys.
Yeah, silly joke aside, the One Up Yours podcast is really yours. So listeners, let us know. Skip, you got the music cued? Hit it, dude. Take us out of here. We'll see you next week.
This has been One Up Yours, a production of the Ziff Davis Game Group and part of the One Up Radio Network. One Up Yours is hosted by Garnet Lee and John Davison, produced by Andrew Pfister and Mike King, and is published every Friday afternoon at podcasts.oneup.com and at the iTunes Music Store.
What's up? I'm not in the fucking credits.